guys, what's up? It is John here for you. Today we are working on the John Deere JS40 that I showed you guys in one of the other videos that I was working on. It's a new mower projects that I had. And as you guys probably remember, this thing had some carburetor problems that we saw that the butterfly right in here is not moving. So I'm going to try to get that carb off of there today. I already did put the gas cap, the new gas cap on here. Because the other one was broke, as you guys remember, and pulled the hubcaps off because these wheels, they're a little sloppy. I got another set of wheels for it from a different mower. But anyway, I'm just going to set you guys up here on the bucket of the tractor and let y'all just kind of watch me work. This is kind of a thing of what I do to get a mower running again that, well, hasn't been running in quite some time. I apologize in advance if I start hacking and dying, because it's just it's been kind of interesting here with allergies and all that kind of garbage. So it is extremely windy here today, which is why I'm inside. Don't gotta worry about it. Alright, so any new mower that I get, used, whatever, most of them that I get are always used. The first thing I always do, I'll grab you guys right here, I always check the oil first. And this is very low. I would not want to run this mower for a long period of time. It is clean, which is a positive thing. The second thing is look to see if there's any gas. I don't know if you all can see down in there or not, but there is no gas in this mower, which is a very good sign. However, I think the carburetor might be a different story. Here's what we're going to do. Go ahead and let's see if I can get this shroud off of here somehow. Well, let's start with the carb. Air filter housing, I rather should say. So the first thing I always do to a mower that I know doesn't work is check the oil and all that kind of stuff. Then the second thing I do is I take the air cleaner off, air cleaner cover, as you're seeing me do here, hopefully. And what I do to the air cleaner after I remove it is I squirt a little bit of carburetor cleaner down in there, or starting fluid I should say. I always use carb cleaner because it's not as harmful as actual starting fluid. But I squirt a little bit down in there just to see if the mower will fire, if it turns over good, it's got good compression. And what this test does, squirting some, so like I took the air filter off, which I bought a new one, this was going to be replaced, but I'll squirt some carb cleaner down in here and to the intake. That tests the compression system, the timing, it tests the ignition system, so it really just gives the mower a good test, and if it fires then you know it's only fuel system problems. If it does not fire, then you got to dig further into either spark or some other item such as that. There you go. With the GoPro, I can't see what you guys are seeing, so I gotta work with me a little bit. Alright, so we got these two bolts here. Let me get my socket set. Alrighty. Pretty much every single little Briggs engine uses the exact same carburetor, and I believe these are 11/32. Nope, might be metric. A lot of small engines that I work on are both metric and standard bolts. Don't ask me why. It's 5/16. Go ahead and get this air cleaner housing off of here. And now if this mower had gas in it, I would either A, try to drain the tank before proceeding with this, or B, I would take an old spark plug that I have, which I've got plenty of, and I'd shove it into the end of the fuel line after I remove it. And what that does is it just blocks the line basically. Another thing with these Briggs tanks is that because there's a bolt down in the bottom here, you can remove the bolts after you take the shroud off. Excuse me. After you take the shroud off, there's 3 bolts that are around the top that hold the top of the tank on. You can undo those and loosen this bottom bolt up in here, and then just lean the entire tank backwards, and because of gravity, it'll help with allowing the fuel to not come out. Alrighty. I did do the test for the carburetor cleaner on this lawnmower. I didn't get it on video, but it did fire. So what I'm doing now is removing the breather hose, this little piece right here, and it goes right onto there. A lot of times if a mower is blowing a lot of oil or whatever, it could be the breather that's causing problems. If you guys could smell what I'm smelling right now, it does not smell good. You can kind of see the wetness right around in here, and I apologize if the light's not that good. But you can see the wetness, it just reeks of old gas. Alright, so now here's what I'm going to do with my parts. I know where everything goes. And wow, that bolt is just soaking. You can see all the gunk down in there. Anyway, I lay all my parts out in these 2 trays because this is my go-to socket set. Any sockets that I use, I put them in there like that so I know that I have a bolt that requires that socket. Now, 3/8. I know for a fact 3/8 fits on these bolts here. However, I may not be able to use the socket because of it being so tight. So, let's see if that's the case or not. Get my 3/8 socket here. Oh, I think I can get away with it, tubes. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I take this extension off, and you just plop it in there like that, and you can use it as a nut driver basically to remove the bolts for the carburetor. And once again, I'm just going to plop it down into my little tray there. Oh man, I can fit both of them with the socket wrench. Win for me. Sometimes the engines are not set up 100% properly, meaning that they're tight and you can't fit this type of wrench in there. But fortunately, I'm going to win today. Alright. Now, a couple last little things that you need to check for. I got the 2 bolts out right here. You can see them. These guys. So I got the bolts out. So this carb is now loose. But you've got the governor linkage, the throttle linkage here. And the spring is attached to the governor plate right there, which this should move. That really should move. This butterfly's locked up. But that goes back and forth. A lot of times if your engine is not revving up high enough, if it has a set throttle, all you have to do is take this plate right here and literally just bend it out. And what that does is it makes this spring a little bit tighter, so it pulls the throttle more, causing the engine RPMs to go up. But what I'm going to do, you can already see the corrosion. What I'm going to do is remove this fuel clamp, hose clamp I should say, and get that off of there. I'm going to throw a rag under the bottom of this thing just so that if there is any leftover fuel in this, it'll drain out. So let me go get a rag and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I got my rag. So I'll just shove that right down into here like this, and I got a spare one just in case. Squeeze around here now, and I'll get my pliers. I have the adjustable ones for taking off hose clamps. That's just my personal preference. You can use regular pliers, you can use whatever the heck you want. So I'll squeeze that there hose clamp off, and there goes the carburetor. So now what I'm going to do is basically just rotate the fuel line. Come on. This is always a fun part. It really is. There we go. So the fuel line just came loose. So you just take the pliers, just wiggle it off, and there is, you guys can see the fuel. Alright, so I got the fuel line off, and I just tucked it up right into here. I tucked it up right in there, make sure it doesn't drain out. And let me use some more rags just for safe being, and I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, now I should be wearing rubber gloves doing this, but I'm old school, so I don't. Alright, so I got the fuel line off, as y'all saw. Now the last little thing is to get the carburetor off, and this is hooked. Yeah, I'll get you guys. Y'all can see the hook right there under the fuel, or under the throttle plate. So all I'm going to do is try to bend this down, and I've broken a couple throttle plates doing this. But you just kind of wiggle it around and it eventually does pop out. You kind of have to curl it back up to you. Anyway, there's the carburetor. And you can see that butterfly is locked up. So I'm going to try to remove this gasket, which are not always the easiest things in the world to do. But I may move over to the bench and put a rag down and work over there because the light is a little bit better. Guys, up on the bench now. Let me see if I can get this... There we go. Just peels right off. I don't know why there's plastic on here. Never seen that before. But I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and peel it off. Normally plastic plus heat isn't very good, but that was probably installed with this sheet of plastic on there. I don't really know why. Alright. So the gasket's off, set that aside. Now let's see here. Oh yeah, y'all can hear the fuel splashing around in there. So I need something to drain the fuel into. So probably what I will end up doing is removing this outside because I don't want to fill my entire garage with gas. I've done it before. It is not enjoyable. So let's go ahead and get outside. And I may actually not film that because I'm going to show you guys the bowl. I'm going to run outside, drain this real quick. I have a bucket out there I drain it into. And I'll be right back after that is drained. Alright, so I got the bowl drained out. I wish you guys could smell this. It's just the smell of stale gas. If y'all know what I'm talking about, then you know it's not pleasant. All I did was drain it. Didn't clean anything, so y'all can see. The bowl nut is very hard to get off, and I couldn't do anything with my hands. But you can see the little hole right in there. And there's the main jet, and there's two jets on the side there. Those are all plugged up. This gasket's hard as a rock. And the bowl, my bowl gasket is trash, dry rotted junk. Oh, I didn't notice this. The needle was seized up. I just got that moving again. Y'all can see all the varnish right in here. This gasket is junk that came off, so I'll just peel this gasket off the best I can. I'm going to need a gasket kit for this thing. Not a rebuild kit. I'm not going to completely rebuild it. I don't think I have to. But let me get a pair of pliers to get that pin out of there to remove the flow. But y'all can see how dirty that bowl is. Let's see here. I like using needle nose for these because they are small little pins. Let's see if this will come out. There we go, it's coming out. Always sucks when these are seized in there. So y'all are wondering, how did this get like this? It's the lovely 10% ethanol mandate that we have in this country. All the gas, well most of the gas, contains at least 10% ethanol. Which if it sits in a engine longer than 6 months, 3 months really, then it gums up like this and the engine stops running. I remove the needle valve. I'm just going to clean it off here. Rags are very important to this process. Here's the float, and this works just like a toilet float basically, where this sits down in the gas, in the bowl like this, in the fuel. And when the gas level gets low, it sinks down, opening the needle valve, which you guys see here, which I need to separate from my old gasket material. But it sinks down like this in the float bowl, and then when more gas flows in, it rises up and it closes the needle valve, which then stops the gas from flowing in. you can see how crusty that is, and I just wipe it and it starts to come off already. So I get some carburetor cleaner on there. It'll break it right up. Alright, I'm going to remove the rest of this here bowl gasket. Probably shouldn't be using a screwdriver for this, but I really got nothing to lose. Alright. I need a new air cleaner to carburetor gasket. I need a new bowl gasket. I'll go ahead and continue taking it off the carburetor here. Carburetor work, because I do small engine repair on the side, trying to make it more first level. But I will guarantee you guys 99% of my work is carburetor and fuel related. Alright, so I'm going to try to get this butterfly moving now, and I'm going to use a little bit of this stuff called 656. It's like WD-40, but it's marine grade. It's a little better. Squirt a dash of that right in here, and a dash of that right in here, and set the can aside and see if that, yeah, there we go. You can see it's starting to move now. Beautiful. And it's gummy. It's real varnishy. This throttle would stick, no doubt. This engine does not have a choke, surprisingly. Some brigs do, some brigs don't. But, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this outside again, so y'all will not see it. But what I'm going to do to clean this carburetor is with the can of carburetor cleaner instead of 656. So with the can of carb cleaner, basically you just put the put the straw down into every single little orifice and every hole in the carburetor, all through the main jets, through the needle and through the seat in there for the needle valve. There's a bunch of little holes in the barrel here. There's a 1-barrel carburetor, and you can see the holes right here. Basically just squirt the carburetor cleaner into all the holes until you see it flowing out. And once she's flowing good, then she's pretty clean. I'm also going to squirt some carb cleaner down into this here. But you know what? I'm going to take you guys with me. I'm going to take you guys with me outside. We'll go around back and get to see me clean the carburetor out. The thing about these is that the parts are so small that you have to be careful with losing them. So we'll go ahead and get this carburetor cleaned out, and then we'll go from there.